Not everybody does that. So I
Yeah.
think that's an important point that you're making here is to be out and about, but then also to use your words. Use your
Yeah.
words, ask questions. Hey, are you guys moving? You got all this stuff for sale? And then you just start a conversation with
Yeah.
somebody. And they may say, listen, we're not, but our neighbors next door, I know they're going to be doing a garage because they're going to be moving. That's so. Yeah, you have to be out. You have to be talking to people. You
All
should
the
never
time.
be sitting. Yeah, you should never be sitting at home if you can help
No.
it.
Hey everybody, it's Kathy Byrnes here with Real Estate Riches, and today I'm joined by Scott Spelker, and I'm very excited to hear his whole story and share some good nuggets with you guys. Hey Scott,
Hello, welcome. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to have you, and I'm really excited to talk about quite a few things. We were just talking about your mother-in-law, how ahead of the curve she is. How old did you say she was?
She'll be 90 next week.
90 next week. Still has her real estate license?
Pays for her, you have to keep it active. She does kind of referral stuff to her son now,
Uh-huh.
but she's been a realtor for approximately 45 years in the Princeton area.
Wow,
And
wow,
one of the first people I know that had a smartphone.
wow.
And when I had like the iPhone 3, she was already on like the 10. He always had the most most up-to-date technology. And I think the business is part of the reason why she's lived so long because she doesn't go on showings now at the age of 90, but it wasn't that long ago. Maybe she was 80, 82, and she would be doing an open house or checking her computer for what listings had come on. And I think it just kept her engaged, and I think it kept
Oh,
her sharp.
yeah. Yet, a lot of realtors can't retire, but other ones, it's in your blood. This is just what you do. And it does keep you younger because of it. I'll be 76 this summer. Yikes. But my
Come
mom was,
on, there's no way.
I love
If
you.
you're 76, I'm 96.
I am.
I have a face for radio.
I am not 76 yet, July.
All
So I'm
right.
actually 75. So I'll claim. The problem is I was born in 50. So for me, the numbers just automatically, as soon as the year changes, I immediately age myself. Takes me off that I do
Yeah.
it. But my mom, I think she was 88 and she was not giving a, she goes, I have a broker's license, Kathy. And I go, well, in North Carolina, everybody has to have a broker's license. I didn't want to burst her bubble, but she loved it and was really good at it. But she didn't start. I think she was about 48, 49.
Yeah. I mean, I was probably, I'm trying to think, I guess I was 50, I think I was 52.
See, I was just 1 month of 56 and started broke in a brand new state. Man, that was a trick. In 2006, when the market was going and then crashes and you don't
Yeah.
know anybody, I didn't know the business. It was tricky.
Well, hopefully, between our hundred and something years of experience or life on this planet, hopefully we can provide some value to your listeners out there. But that's really my goal is I just hope there's some things that I can maybe do for them today that would help them out because I know when I started out, I just had somebody I met with today and I referred them to our company. So they're going to be an agent. And so she's been asking me some different questions, and it kind of brings back some of the things. And she says, I'm kind of afraid. I've got 4 kids. I haven't worked in a long time. And I was like, yeah, it is pretty scary. I said, I know exactly. It hasn't been that long for me. And
Hmm.
I said, I was useless when I first started. I said, most people have some sort of skills. I was a currency trader for 25
Mm.
years, and it was a very, very specific skill set. It was
Yeah.
basically a professional gambler, is what I was.
Oh,
So all of a sudden I'm in this field where, I had to scan a document and I
yeah.
didn't know how to do that. I
Ah.
didn't have to work the copying machine to change something from two-sided to one-sided. I was so clueless. And it's not only that you're clueless, but you're a little bit embarrassed
Sure.
to ask people for some things that you really kind of you should maybe know, or it's pretty mundane stuff. It's not like, oh, how do I do my listing presentation? No, I'm saying, how do I use the copying machine? So I totally understand how it's scary. And I said to him, you just have to just forge ahead. And
Yeah.
really, I know it's some cliche thing about, the longest journey begins with but a single step. It is so true because this was not my first choice. after leaving Wall Street. I went back to school at night to become a teacher.
Mm.
I student taught. I was going to teach U.S. history, world history, personal finance, economics. But there were so many applicants for jobs, like 300 applicants for every position, that I couldn't get my foot in the door. So after a couple of years, people were suggested to me that I do this. They said, look, you're personable. You've lived in the same town for a long time. Unlike you, you moved to a completely different state,
Mm.
which is really hard. I had some sort of a network here between
Yeah,
our kids, my
that
wife,
helps.
and it helps in a big way. But, I just didn't know if this is what I wanted to do.
Sure.
I really wasn't sure if this is what I wanted to do. So it's hard. And I said, just take the first step. And the first step was signing up to take the real estate course. So I was like, I just do it. Give me something to do. I wasn't working at the time. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I still have my job in New York. I'm going to do this. No, I had not worked in 3 years.
Ooh, yeah.
So it wasn't just a financial burden, but it was also finding you need purpose in your life, as I
Yeah.
found out very easily. It's easy to get down and it's easy to kind of lose hope a little bit. So that first step is just what you have to do. Take that first step, start small. Don't have it's like when my wife says when we have clients that we're meeting with and they're trying to get their house in some sort of ship shape
Yeah.
because we live one way and we sell our house another way. So
No.
she always suggests and recommends to them start with the very smallest room and say that's all you're going to try to accomplish. And then
Mm.
it doesn't seem so overwhelming. And you take care of that one room. And next thing you know, you accomplish that. And maybe it's only took you 2 hours. And next thing you know, you're motivated now and you go on to the next. Well, it all began with that first step. And the reason you took that first step, the homeowner, is because it didn't seem so daunting. It
Yeah.
was just a small room that you had to try to take care of. And so that would be my advice to agents that are either thinking about going into this or kind of new to it. And hopefully there's some things that we'll bring up today that maybe I can, share, some guidance. I'm not the be all end all. I don't have all the answers, but it would be my goal is hopefully that you'll come out of the other side of this interview with something usable and maybe a little something to motivate you a little bit. I know that I used to listen to Tom Ferry when I first started out.
Mm.
So there's a lot of different places you can go, like your podcast. It's just that you should listen to those. You could be in the car. It doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
could be driving. Try to spend, 45 minutes a day to an hour a day in that first kind of year or so, because you'd be surprised, an hour a day, even just 5 days a week is about 250 hours over the
Yeah.
course of a year. And in 2 years, it's 500 hours that
That's
you've gotten different perspectives, different ideas. Most of the companies, I know our parent company Anywhere, which just got taken over by Compass, but they offer a lot of different courses that you can take. And now you don't have to go in. You can just go online or go on Zoom call or something like that. And so sometimes I would hear somebody speak I go to hear somebody speak for an hour, and I might only get one thing out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That one thing was valuable, and I immediately tried to put it into practice. So if there was a suggestion about something you could do, I was writing it down on my phone, and I didn't say, "Oh, this is something I'm going to do next week or the week after." I sometimes would try to employ that even while I'm at the lecture. If you could go online and do it, like a social
Oh,
media type of
yeah.
post, but at least try to get it done that day, because if you don't, you're just going to push it off. But
I know.
you can't expect to go listen to a podcast. You can't expect to go listen to a lecture and expect that you're going to get like 50 ideas. Even if you get one and you do it over a course of a year, you get five really good ideas in 1 year. That's gold. That's fantastic. And then it'll accumulate. And next thing you know, people are going to be taking your ideas.
Yeah.
After a while, you've come up with some different things, you've tweaked some things, and people are copying you, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
So,
it's so true. Well, you started this in your 50s. I started this in my 50s. We're not alone. This is a really common thing. And people don't necessarily want to get into real estate. They just don't know what else they should try, where they
right.
would have the opportunity to make a commission, a good living if they did it. The biggest challenge that I find is that so many of the companies that are out there have very little support. There was never collaboration when I started at any company. I started at Coldwell Banker. I lasted there about less than 2 years because I wasn't getting supported. I'm figuring it out myself. And then I went to Remax. Now I was at Remax for 7 years. That particular broker owner did some training, but not much. But she got me on a path of work and expireds. And then I created systems based on my previous career, which was financial planning, and that was also the market had crashed. So now
Yeah.
I'm looking at, well, where is the market right now? Well, the market's in the expireds and the market's in the short sales. So I'm going to get really good at those. And then we're going to go knock on doors at those expireds. And I particularly want the ones that have expired 2 or 3 times because now they're ready to get real. And my partner and I, we would go up and down this one peninsula and work it. I also picked the price point because I needed a certain net to survive. And with
Right.
everybody taking a piece of the action, and I had a partner, so we were a 50-50 split. The franchise got some, they also got a split. You know, you're looking at your numbers crunching. So I didn't want any 1 or 2 or 300,000 dollar homes. I wanted 4 on up because
Yeah.
I that's what I needed to at least get a little bit ahead because I'm starting below zero. And so we did good systems. And I think that's an important thing to talk to agents about. You really need to have some sort of system. You've got to get some help if your office won't do it. These things like this will. I ended up writing a book called From Rookie to Rockstar because that's what I felt like. And I did that with AI. It's not a big book, it was 27 pages, but it covered basic scenarios about picking your niche, being resilient, you know, paying attention to your net, not your gross, all different techniques that I did to even figure out how to get sellers, which was garage sales. That worked so great for me.
Huh.
Because I didn't have anything in the house that I finally moved into. I said, well, I need to go to garage sales to get some stuff to fill up my little baby house. And it dawned on me, I said to one of them, are you selling your house? And they go, yeah. And I said, do you have an agent? And some would say yes, some would say no. And I was always there at 6:30 in the morning because I wanted to beat everybody else. So I started bringing my business cards in my back pocket and I would still be shopping because I wanted to be, I was looking for stuff. And
Right.
then it evolved to that I was looking for staging things. I would pick things up at garage sales.
Right.
And I got one where it was like 380,000. It was a rent, an investor had a rental property and they were clearing out stuff that a tenant had left and they were selling it all off. And she said, you can help me sell this one. And I said, okay. So I took that one. And then after I did really good with that, she goes, well, my dad's got a waterfront for sale. You want to help? Yes. So that,
Yes.
that was a million plus. And she goes, well, we want to buy a waterfront. You want to help? Yes. All that from a garage sale. So
Wow.
I'm a big believer in garage sales and it's different. You know, you're not competing with a bunch of other agents out there. It's just you.
Well, you attribute it to the garage sale. I would look at it from maybe a higher up view, which is you got out of your house and you
Mhm.
were out in public and you were interacting with other people.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be a garage sale. I mean, it could be joining the Rotary. It could be, in a
Yes.
book club. It could be anything. And the garage sales, yes, there may be an angle on it that people are doing a garage sale to get ready to sell their house. I get that. But it all starts with you saying, not only am I going to be out there in public, and you had a purpose, which was to buy things for your house, but you always had in the back of your mind that you're dealing in real estate and somebody may want to sell their home. You may be able to help them buy a home, whatever. And you ask questions. And
Yes.
people, you ask them those questions, say, oh, you guys selling. If you hadn't asked that question, you might have bought your rake or your shovel for your house. And that's all. You would have spent like $7 and you would have gotten $7 worth of tools out of it. But you
Yeah.
asked the question. And that's really, it's just kind of a thing that sounds like it's like everybody knows that, but not everybody does that.
Not everybody
So I
does.
think that's an important point that you're making here is to be out and about, but then also to use your words. Use your
Yeah.
words, ask questions. Hey, are you guys moving? You got all this stuff for sale? And then you just start a conversation with
Yeah.
somebody. And they may say, listen, we're not, but our neighbors next door, I know they're going to be doing a garage because they're going to be moving. Is that it? That's so. Yeah, you have to be out. You have to be talking to people.
All the time.
You should
All the
never
time.
be sitting. Yeah, you should never be sitting at home if you can help
No.
it.
Well, and you get heavily involved in your community, don't you?
I do. Yeah. I mean, a lot of what I did was prior to even thinking about going into real estate. So I coached football in town from, I guess, for a total of 20 years. I
Wow.
just retired from that 2 years ago. So anywhere from like third and fourth grade up to eighth grade tackle football. I coached baseball for 12 years.
Mhm.
So I met a lot of people through that. And I continue to coach even after my kids had moved on. In fact, I really only coached my own kids for maybe a combined in football, probably a combined 2 or 3 years.
Mm.
If I hadn't coached them, they probably would have been a lot better. But how many kids would have gone pro if I hadn't coached them? But I met a lot of people that way. So I was involved in the community in that sense. And then I've always really been very interested in the history of our town, which is just kind of unique in the sense that it's been around since the 1750s. So there's a very unique history here. And that kind of just grew over time. And I never anticipated that I would ever use that kind of love of the history of our town for real estate purposes
Mm.
because I kind of was into it before I ever went into real estate. But then I incorporated it, and now I'm the town historian, actually, which I think just means I'm old. But I'm the town historian. I do different events like, stuff. I work with the schools in terms of doing different tours, and I've actually created an app which was a lot of work. But it has like 40 different stops around town. It has
Oh.
before and then and now pictures. It has videos, and that's been used in the schools. I lecture. So that whole thing I actually did a trolley tour. I rented a trolley, had somebody driving a trolley, and people signed up for this tour. And I didn't even know if anybody was going to show up, but it was sold out. And they drove all around town and discussed different Revolutionary War houses, different, all kinds
Oh.
of different things. And I've actually gotten listings from people that went on those tours. They've contacted me sometimes years later and they say, I took your trolley tour or blah, blah, blah. And I
Oh.
was like, wow, I did it for fun. I did it to kind of just bring the history to life in our town for a lot of
Hmm.
people that weren't aware of kind of the unique history we have. But it turned out that it led to some business. And then I started to incorporate some old photos of town
Mm.
and would incorporate those on mailers. So sometimes it could be a house that I was putting on the market, but on the back there would be some sort of thing about an old house in town, or it could be a building or some sort of historical thing. And I'm throwing this out there. I don't know, but people are even going to read it. Can't tell you how many times that people over the last 11 years have come up to me, some that I don't know well at all, some that I've known for a long time, and they're like, I love your marketing. And I was like, well, what do you mean in particular? I'm not sure what you mean. As I throw so much stuff out there. I love the history stuff of the town, the
Yeah.
old pictures, what the police station you have it, the horses in front of it, and like, that kind of stuff. So I was like, oh, great. And I think it keeps people from I don't know about you, when I go through my mail, I could be gone for 2 weeks. I come home, I can go through my mail in like 20 minutes because
Oh, yeah.
I'm flinging stuff that I can just tell I have no interest in. So if I do a mailer, I say sometimes if I can put something on there where they see my name and I say, we're going to stop for a second because this guy may have something pretty cool on the back. It has helped, having that interest in the history of the town, coaching sports, having been on the board of the nursery school that our kids went to when they were little. I was never active in any of those things because I thought when I'm 50, whatever, one or two, I'm going to be a real estate agent in town, and this is really going to come in handy.
Yeah. But
Not at
it's
all.
unique. It's unique and it sets you apart. Otherwise, we're just cookie cutters. We have to have something that makes us unique. I drive a 65 Shelby Cobra if you're a car guy at all. And that sets me apart a lot in the area because I go to all the car shows. It's
Mhm.
a daily car for me. Do you know what it is?
I do know what a Cobra is.
Oh,
Yeah.
because not everybody does. It's like a little rocket going down the street. I just
Yeah.
friggin' love it. I
Is
couldn't
it
drive
blue
it
and
for,
white? What color is it?
she's a silver gray with a light
Okay.
silver, two light silver stripes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's sweet.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool car.
Very cool car. 5 speed headers. I love it. And I couldn't drive her for a month because I couldn't get her into the repair shop because you have to have a very special lift for that style car.
Oh,
And she was backfiring like crazy, and something happened to the right exhaust pipe, the header there, and it was shooting out, backfiring like crazy. People thought I was like shooting a machine gun as I
yeah.
would drive down the street. And it was a leaning really low. But if you go over a road bump, it's really hard on those side pipes. So it's really hard to get it up high enough over the top of those because it's a short car.
Yeah.
And but anyway, that I use that as I'm known around town. Oh, you're that gal, and I do it in my marketing. It's all over the place. And my whole intent when I bought it to make it a part of the marketing was I wanted it as a write-off for one thing. But it does set me apart. I am a classic car girl. I'm originally from Detroit. I'm now here in North Carolina. And this particular area that I'm in is known as Race City around here because it's
Oh,
NASCAR. And so there's a lot of car people here, so I am relatable. Although I
right.
did not have that car in the beginning, I was really driving junkers. It took me a while.
Yeah, I mean that's it. Yeah, and most people, there's a lot of agents when they're trying to build their business, they're not going to be able to go out. And I would not advise spending money on a car
No.
to market yourself. But once I was in the business already for probably, I guess, 7 or 8 years, and I actually did buy a car off of my brother-in-law because it was so unique and it was something that I'd never seen before. And so I brought it to there's a place in town called Sunday Motors, and every Sunday, especially in the nice weather, people come from all over the place, and there's mostly Porsches that are
Mm,
parked there. It has a whole motor theme to the breakfast place, and there's Lamborghinis there, there's Ferraris. But when I pull in with this car of mine, people stop and check it out because everybody's seen a Ferrari, everybody's
yeah,
seen a Lamborghini, everybody's seen a Porsche. This is a Nissan Figaro,
I
and
don't know it.
you can look it up after the
I
show.
will.
It is from 91 or 92. They made 20,000 of these cars over 2 years, and they came in four different colors. And this one is kind of a matte mocha color. It's a convertible. The
Ooh.
steering wheel is on the right-hand side.
Oh,
All the interior, you would think it was a 1950s Alfa Romeo.
wow.
It's slower than anything. I mean, I think it's 0 to 60 in like 4 days, but it is and I have magnets on the side with our thing. It's very subtle. It's also a darker brown against a lighter brown, so it doesn't
Ah,
look tacky. And people see that car and they're blown away. And of course, it has my logo on it. And people are taking selfies in front of the car and putting on social media with and my logo is there. So it wasn't
wonderful.
a huge expense. I think it was about 12,000 bucks. The thing is, if I ever needed to sell it, I could probably sell it 5 years later for the same money and not lose anything. It was just
Oh,
the
sure.
ability to put the 12,000 out. I do write it off. I've used it in parades.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the Grinch, somebody dressed up as the Grinch, complete uniform of the Grinch, and was driving the car while throwing out candy at the Christmas parade in Madison, New Jersey. So it's actually been fun to drive, and it's the reaction, and it's one of those things where I didn't go into this business thinking I got to get myself a car that I could. It was just when I saw this thing, and I had been doing it long enough that I had a little bit of a cushion, and I said, to my brother-in-law, if you ever sell it, I'll take it because I think I could use this for market, and I park it in front of listings.
Oh, smart.
So yeah, he's got custom plates, historic plates that say, my brother-in-law got them. It says Winston, like Winston Churchill.
Oh.
So I will post stuff and say, Winston got another listing, or Winston just got this house under contract. I said, Winston just sold this house. So people will see me and they're like, "Hey, Winston have anything coming on the market?" I said, "Yes, he does." So it's just a goofy thing, but
No, but it's so
um,
smart marketing. It's unique. And my car's named Stella. And yeah, when she was being towed away, I'm taking pictures. Oh no, Stella's off. Hopefully the bill's not a fortune. Things
yeah.
like that. And then when she comes home, Stella's home. Pictures in the garage because I have a little BMW as well, a little Z4. So I have two sports cars. And my daughter goes, "Why would anyone have two?" I go, "I would have more if I could." But they're side by side in the garage, and my plate on the other one is called Empowered because I love empowering people. And I put that on the very first car that I got when I moved here because I know I needed to be empowered.
Right.
So
Right.
worked out well. But anyway, the marketing is critical, especially for new
Yes.
agents. And in today's AI market as well, you have got to set yourself apart. So what are you doing with AI?
One other thing point out with marketing is, social media is a really inexpensive way to do it.
Yep.
Emails and putting people on a list of kind of everybody, it's always very interested in what has sold in
Mm,
their area or their neighborhood. So if you can put something together like that and send that out, maybe, even quarterly, here is what is sold in town in the last 3 months. And people eat that up because you can put down list price, sale price, so they can see whether it's sold for over asking, how many days on market. You can even have it so it shows number of bedrooms and baths. It's a really inexpensive way to hit your sphere and as many people as you possibly want to send that out to. So that's an inexpensive way to do it. The other thing is when I first started in this business, I customized my open house signs. Got a little bit of pushback from some of the other agents in the office, but the manager was the one that suggested it. And so I customized it and branded the open house sign so that when people saw it, they immediately associated that sign with me. And
Good.
then I bought probably 10 or 15 of the signs. So if I had a house on, such and such street, sometimes people would put maybe one or two signs out, three signs. When I first started out, I put like 15 signs out.
That
You had to sometimes follow the signs for 2 miles, whereas most Asians were putting them within 100 yards of the house. So, I had friends call me, where is this place? I've been driving for 5 minutes. And sometimes it was over the border into the next town, but people were driving down a busy road and they were seeing my sign on this street, that street, it was street, but it was just a way to just get more exposure. It was exposure, exposure, exposure. And it doesn't, other than the paying for the signs, it didn't cost anything. And it was just
right.
a way to get that out there. And they were supposed to be picked up, I think, by the ordinance of the town. I think by like 8 o'clock at night, they're supposed to be picked up. I sometimes would just accidentally forget. And occasionally the rush hour traffic on Monday would happen to see my signs before I got around to picking them up. But that's just it's an inexpensive way to get yourself out there and try to look for cost-effective ways, like the ball field in town. I was one of the first ones when they built these new turf fields. I selected the spot that I wanted to be. It wasn't a huge amount of money to do the sign. It was a pretty large sign, like 4 feet by 6 feet,
A
in
banner kind of sign.
no, it was like almost like hard metal. It was
Oh,
banner. It was pretty hard, and it was going to stay up permanently. So I put it in a kind of strategic spot, and it wasn't huge money. I want to say it was a couple $100 to have the sign made, and then they hit you for a couple $100 each year. But there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and it's a touch. Everything's
yes.
just they
Touch.
go to church and they see my face in the church bulletin. That's a touch. They
Yep.
go to have breakfast at the diner afterward. I'm on the placemat. That's a touch. So you know, does it lead to business? You really don't know. You're not 100% sure what's going to pay off. I certainly will tell you, like the church bulletin, I think it was $1,200, and I think I'd advertised in there for 5 or 6 years. And so I don't think I got a single piece of business out of that. And I spent maybe 6 or 7 thousand bucks. And I was like, I mean, it was worth it just because when my mother asked if I had been at church that week, I could say yes, because the bulletin was there and my face was on it. So but I did get a listing, and I think what put him over the top was he had heard about us and blah blah blah, and he goes to church and he sees that I'm on my ads there, and that was kind of like, all right, that's it, this is my guy,
Mm,
and it was worth it because I ended up listing his house for like 1.4 million, and then he referred me to somebody else, and I sold their house for 2.6 million.
nice.
So it was $4 million worth of business it was at least 60 or $70,000 to me commission. So the next year when they came to renew, I was like, there's no way. It's just bad karma. When the church says you're going to renew your ad in the bulletin, I'm like, yes, I will renew the ad
Yeah.
because it wouldn't be right to get business finally and then drop them.
Right. Right.
So, and that's not huge. It's not a huge investment, but you have a certain amount of money that you're going to allocate.
Right.
You're going to try to figure out how can I do it in the smartest possible way.
Yeah.
Now, as far as AI, you asked me about AI. It seems like you can't pick up a newspaper or you read anything online without hearing about AI, AI, AI. It's real. It's absolutely real. It's not a fad. It's not a hype. It's going to be you've got the industrial revolution with electric. I would say the internet probably be the next major revolution, not industrial, but digital. And this is going to be maybe larger than the internet. It's that big. I know it sounds like it's
Much bigger.
overhyped,
No.
and I know everybody's thinking about, how do I invest in this? So AI, it's everywhere. It's the real deal. This is not just a passing fad. And I'm not exactly the most technologically sophisticated person in the world, but I got the app on my phone, and I'd even say you should go on ChatGPT and say, I don't know how to use you. How can I possibly benefit by using ChatGPT as a real estate agent in such and such state of the country? And ChatGPT will say, well, these are all the different ways. And the next thing you know, Chat, would you like me to ask you about this? Would you like to have help with your listing presentation? Would you like to have help with your mailers? And yeah, but what about mailers? Is there any mailers that could be funny? Blah, blah, blah. And then ChatGPT will come up with different ideas. So you just don't know all the different things it's going to be able to do for you. And speaking of which, in terms of mailers, this is a pretty funny one. When I first started around, I guess it was 2015 or 16, there was a presidential election coming up. It was Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. And it's always tricky and it's dangerous waters to mention politics because you're going to isolate 50% of the people.
Yeah,
So I,
we need to qualify that. Yeah.
yes, I stay away from politics on social media all the time. I don't go anywhere near it. But in this particular case, it was 2016, and I thought something would be really, I think it'd be funny. I said a little bit risky, but I was willing to roll the dice on this because nobody knew me anyway. So I figured they might remember me after I did this. So I took a really, it was a very nice picture of Hillary, and it was a very nice picture of Donald, and I put them on this mailer, and I put a beautiful house in the background, and across the top, I said, "Thinking of moving to Canada? We can help with that."
I love it. Because that
And
was a
because
common
everybody,
phrase. That was a common
yeah,
phrase. They were either side was moving to Canada.
everybody's always saying, yeah, I think Alec Baldwin even said he was moving to Canada. So everybody was, I'm moving to Canada if this candidate wins. So I said, yeah, listen, there's going to be a lot of people moving because somebody's got to lose. Thinking of moving to Canada, we can help with that.
I
So
loved
I
it.
got a call. I got a call from a woman that was on the board of realtors, and it was a little scary. And she said, I've been doing this for 30 something years. And I'm thinking, oh boy, she's gonna hold my license or whatever. So she goes, I just want to tell you that's the first thing that I've seen that's really made me laugh in real estate in 30 something years. And my husband's brother, who is a bit of a curmudgeon and doesn't laugh very much, he got your card and thought it was hilarious and called me. So she goes, I just want to thank you for that. And then another gentleman who was about 80 years old, lived in the next town over, and we ended up getting his listing. And I said, why us? Why did you choose us? And he goes, I got your mailer 2 years ago with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump on it, and I thought that was hilarious. I said, I want this guy marketing my home. It's a little bit risky. Humor is, you can use humor, and people love it. But you just have to be a little bit careful in this day and age. And I usually run things by my wife, who's the voice of reason.
Smart.
So I don't rely on it, but if I see something that I think I can use, I think is going to be funny and resonate with people, and it's not going to offend anybody, then I'll go with it. So
Well, I think in this market, you have to do things that stand out. I think
yes,
politics are risky, but that was perfect because either side was you're going to have 50%.
right,
Yeah, so you were
yeah,
balanced.
I was
And
balanced.
but that's I asked ChatGPT, I said, I feel like I'm doing the same old stuff. There's nothing exciting on here. We're just writing the same old things. I want something that's unique, that's going to stand out. I said, you've got to start coming up with some stuff. And it said, well, humor is always a good way to go. And it's not just sold, it's just listed, it's boring as heck. Nobody cares about that anyway. You've got to be giving content. And there's something that a lot of agents don't know about, that we in our MLS you can have, and it's what is it, RSS, RPR.
Oh
And
yeah, RPR.
RPR, it's wonderful. It's got data in there like you can use like crazy for your content. And it's got an AI feature in there as well. So the
I
bottom
just
line
sent
is,
that. It's funny you mentioned RPR. I use it all the time, but just today I had some buyers that sent me a house that they're very interested in seeing. And normally I would have to go to the MLS and maybe you get that, but I went to RPR and it said like view report or generate report. Okay, generate report. I'm like, oh, this looks pretty professional. And
yes,
then it says share, bang, I text it to them. So under 2 minutes from the time that they reach out about a house, I'm sending them back something in addition to whatever they saw online.
right.
There's a coming soon. So yeah, if you have RPR in your area, I use it sometimes to just see, who the owner was, what they paid for the house, the size of the lot,
Mm-hmm.
what the block and lot number is. But this will generate a report, as you said, that you can share it with your buyers. If you're going to see three houses this Saturday, you can send them those three things before they even go. You look more knowledgeable and you look like you're being proactive. So
Right. And it gives an analysis of of the neighborhood,
yes,
subdivision, a city, whatever. It's awesome.
it
Well,
is.
this has been great, Scott. I've had a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And
Me too.
if you people, everybody here at Real Estate Riches, if you're watching this, we're going to have all Scott's information. I appreciate all of that. So you'll be able to get him. In what town are you in? What area?
We are in Madison, New Jersey, which is the headquarters of Anywhere, which is the parent company of Sotheby's,
Ah,
ERA, Better Homes and Gardens, and Coldwell Banker. And we were recently acquired by Compass.
yes.
So I don't know what they're going to do with this headquarters, but that's where I was today in the headquarters of the parent company.
Yeah, it's a big news thing.
Yes, it is. We'll see how
So
that works.
we'll see how
We're
that
looking
works.
forward to it. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
good.
thanks for having me.
Yes. And so everybody, that's it. That's a wrap for another one at Real Estate Riches. And we've got all his contact information. So hope to see you on the next one. Let's book a strategy call and let's have a talk. No pressure, but man, it's worth a conversation. The link's in the description.